It's time to get controversial. Everything I talk about on this channel is pretty tame. Occasionally, maybe I'll have something spicy to say about the game here and there, but I have gotten together all of my unpopular Eternal Return opinions, and I'm ready to present them in this video. So yeah, let's get into it. So Luke is actually a super balanced character, even underperforming in a lot of aspects. He can stat check new players early, and it's really frustrating to play against him when you're learning the game. So I think a lot of people say nerf Luke, when really he doesn't need those nerfs. So the winter map was actually super hype at first, but I prefer the original. The winter map had its charm, but I got burnt out pretty quickly because everything was just covered in snow and just all white, while the other map's a little bit more colorful. The take that I hate hearing the most is crafting is too much of the game. It kinda signals to me that you might be on the newer end or just take too long to get your build online. Most of my games, crafting might be like 10 to 15% of the game, and I actually genuinely enjoy the crafting at the beginning of each game. Being able to speedrun that and perfect a route is pretty rewarding. Another take that I'm not a huge fan of are there are too many recipes. Recently, Nimble Neuron kind of alluded they agree, and they took away a lot of recipes that were a little meaningless, and then they've also buffed a lot of food so it is actually worth crafting. My thing is I like a variety of recipes. I think it's fun crafting a bunch of different food, and every once in a while you'll find that food that you're like, damn, I didn't know I could make this right now, but here it is, and I think that's pretty cool. Okay, I don't know how spicy this one is, but in my opinion, Hyunwoo needs a rework. His kit feels like it encourages like ratting around and sitting in bushes waiting to slam someone against the wall just to burst them down, which I feel like isn't all that much fun for the player and who they're playing against. So there's a sentiment that there's too many characters coming out and too many skins coming out because they should be focusing on gameplay. They should be using all their time to fix all the bugs and gameplay issues that happen within Eternal. While I don't disagree that they should be focusing on those things, there's probably different teams within Nimble Neuron that works on those things, and even if there isn't, I think paying attention to things like skins, paying attention to things like new character releases are super important in retaining the player base that you have, because players like me, I would get bored eventually if there was no new content coming out like every month or so. I'm willing to trade off like some unbalanced characters every once in a while or some rough character releases for more content. Like I can play through a few weird patches, you know? All right, so this one I thought about a lot. I think the Battle Pass was kind of weak. It had 100 tiers, right? But the issue is a lot of the tiers were like XP or points towards the Battle Pass. I really like the announcer packs, skins, and music, but the issue is that they need to condense this down to maybe like 60, 75 tiers instead of bloating it up with all of these kind of frivolous things that I don't really care about. It would also help with like the new player retention or getting new players into the game, because players like me, I'm gonna have no time finishing the Battle Pass, but if they're newer, then they might be struggling, and bloating it up kind of hurts them. So one thing that I do is I personally don't grief players who are clearly new and missing like half their build. But I see a lot of veteran players doing this, like griefing them and just kind of rolling the lobby because they have like 3 kills griefing new players. I think this is okay. It's not their job to look after the ER player base. I care about the game, so I try to do so, but I'm not going to put that obligation onto other players, and at the end of the day, it's a video game and you should play how you want to play. So duos and squads, I think a lot of people enjoy watching more, but personally, I like to spectate games a lot more in solos. From an esports perspective, it's a lot easier to tell a narrative when there's like these big personalities, then they're fighting against each other. When you put people on a team, the personalities tend to get watered down a bit. The best way I can explain this is when I watch games like Melee or other fighting game communities. Like, these big personalities really can shine because it's one personality pitted against another rather than like teams of like 5. There's a lot of criticism on advertising for the game, and as someone who's worked in marketing, I don't think they're really doing that poorly of a job. So the thing is, they don't want to spend all of their budget when the game isn't retaining players very well. So that's the big issue that Eternal has had, is retention. So why would I spend my hard-earned advertising budget all to just get acquisition where you can't retain those people? So I think they got to fix that problem before they fix the problem of we got to get new people, we got to advertise more. Along with that, I will say they've done content advertising where they hire an influencer to promote the game, and I think that stuff has gone down really well along with some of the traditional advertising they've done. So last up, I said I'd never do a tier list, but this is my unpopular opinion video, so here it goes. I made a solos tier list on just how good people are this patch. I think I have a pretty conservative tier list on where people fall. I don't think many people would disagree, but I do have some weird picks. I think Jackie, everyone thinks is good, but I think Jackie's S tier. The damage that Jackie can put out right now compared with just the kit that makes her really good for solos, I think she's S. William with that buff to his Q, definitely really good spot right now. I'd put him up in S tier. And then my most controversial pick for S tier is Kiara. I think this character can pretty much 1v1 like anyone in the game at any point in the game. The only thing is, once she does that 1v1, she's kind of left vulnerable for a while, but if that's the only drawback that you have, I think this is an S tier character. Who I have low is Adriana. Most people have Adriana up in A, but I don't think they have played that much Adriana if they think she's still really good, because the damage was actually pretty noticeable, the damage they took off her. So now she's kind of relegated back to like, I need Wick to win the game. And along with that, most Adri players in KR and in NA are just dropping her for other characters right now. Other than that, Jukai and Nadine are kind of on the lower end. They used to be like these infinite scaling characters, right? But now I think they're pretty easy to grief early on and to kill as long as they don't get into the late game. So I put them a little lower than most people might have them. Alrighty, and those were my unpopular opinions. They're opinions for a reason. Let me know if you agree, disagree with any of these in the comments. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to be live on Twitch. We got a new Discord up too, that will be in the description. Yeah, have a great day, everyone.